Jesus' method of evangelism was to touch people at the points of the greatest need. This is medical missionary work. Christ was not content only to heal them physically and to do nothing. The goal was eternal life in Jesus. So with that in mind, how do you understand medical missionary work? And since we're getting short on time, some thoughts I want to unpack. I'm going to read this quote from Testimonies, Volume 6, 288. Again and again I have been instructed. When it starts out that way, what do you think?
It's important.
Okay, who do you think was instructing her? Kellogg? Probably not. So when she says, again and again I've been instructed, she's implying that God has given her some directions. That's what she's implying here. Again and again I've been instructed that the medical missionary work is to bear the same relation to the work of the third angel's message that the arm and the hand bear to the body. Now, the third angel's message, be thinking about that because I'm going to come back to you and ask you, what do you understand the third angel's message to be after I finish the rest of this quote? So be processing. Under the direction of the divine head, they are to work unitedly in preparing the way for the coming of Christ. The right arm of the body of truth is to be constantly active, constantly at work, and God will strengthen it. But it is not to be made the body. At the same time, the body is not to say to the arm, I have no need of thee. The body has need of the arm in order to do active, aggressive work. Both have their appointed work, and each will suffer great loss if worked independently of the other. So, in other words, she's suggesting that in the gospel work, the medical missionary and the theology students, the medical students and the theology students should be taught together. And that's why we have Loma Linda in California and the seminary at Michigan. Let's get them as far apart practically as we can. Seriously, it was purposely separated by the leadership of the church in contradiction to this direction because they were afraid after Kellogg and Kellogg's sanitarium that the medical people had too much money, the doctors had too much money and too much power, and the theologians wanted to control the direction of theology taught in the system, and they wanted the doctors out of it. And so they separated them.
They still do.
And they still do. That's why we're over here. Okay, but there's truth here. Now, Ellen White state the message that she had again and again. She'd been instructed that the medical missionaries with the right arm, that this message is coming from God, that's how it's to work. What message is the medical missionary work to be a part of that is taken to the world? What we call the third angel's message, which is what? What do you understand that to be? In the grand landscape, it is the final message that is to prepare the world for the second coming of Christ. That's the grand landscape. We'll get specific in a moment. But this is the message that says to the world, Christ is coming, get ready, and here's how you prepare. That's what the message is to be, okay? But as you break it down, here's how I understand it. First angel. God is the creator, the designer, the builder. Worship him who made the heavens, the earth, the sea. And we are to come back to the reality that his laws or the protocols upon which reality is based. And in that admiration and appreciation for him, in awe, fear God, in awe of him, we are to give him glory by revealing his character in our lives. Amen. Because the hour in earth's history has come for people to make a right judgment about him. Fear God, be in awe of him, give him glory, reveal his character in your life for the hour of his judgment. Not the hour when he sits as a judicial magistrate. The hour in which people are finally going to have enough truth revealed that they can go, oh, God isn't like this dictator who I must fear. God is like Jesus, and I can actually trust and love him. The hour of his judgment has come. Worship him who made the heavens, the earth, the sea. Worship the designer and the one who builds reality. And then, that's the first angel. The second, the other churches and religions of the world are fallen into a system of imperialism, a system of imposed law, a system of arbitrary rules, a system of legal theology in which you have a Babylon-like punishing God who will kill you if you don't do what he says. And it's a confused system of rules that make no sense. And it's fallen, come out of her, my people. And the third angel, those who reject God, who is love, and his law of love, and prefer the beastly methods of human imposed law constructs, and therefore mark themselves in their minds by believing and promoting methods of coercion, or mark themselves in their hands by the works and practices of the methods of coercion. will ultimately die of their terminal, unhealed, selfish condition. The third angel. God's universe does not work like human governments. It's beastly. That's the message we are to take to the world. God is creator, designer, and the medical ministry. So why is the right arm to be the medical message? Because the laws of health are design laws. Nothing reveals design law better on every human life that they can see it in reality than the laws of health. And how that when you violate the laws of health, you reap pain, suffering, and eventually death. And that when you violate the laws of health, the doctor does not have to have a tribunal, present evidence, get testimony, and inflict punishments upon you.
If the brain is not kept healthy, how can you absorb spiritual?
There you go. That's right. And so we model and demonstrate reality, but it's only the right arm, not the actual gospel, because the plan of salvation is not simply healing your physiology. The plan of salvation is healing your character, healing your soul, restoring your heart. That's the gospel message, but it operates on the exact same principles as the laws of health. That's the message. And we have split those off. And we go and promote the law of health as a segue to say, see, now we have the right arbitrary rules. The Sabbath is an arbitrary test of obedience, and so we can prove to you that we have insight because we have the red leather books, and the red leather books told us to worship on the Sabbath, and that's the same person who gave us the health laws, and so we can be confident that's the right arbitrary law to keep, so you better keep this law, because if you don't, you're going to get the mark of the beast, and God's going to have to kill you in the end.
Happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath.
Yes, happy Sabbath. And that is exactly the corruption. We have just gone from design laws of health back to an arbitrary imposed penal legal system, which is beastly. This is what the Jews did. They had the health message in their day. They had a health message. But what they did is they had the same arbitrary view of God's law, and so they wanted to stone him when he's healing people on Sabbath. And he even tried to point this out. You want to circumcise on Sabbath to keep the law of Moses. Shouldn't we restore the whole person on Sabbath? No, let's stone you for that. You're breaking the rule. Arbitrary rules. Makes no sense whatever.